Yesterday I found this show. And it's called Dope Sick, and I started watching it. It's on Hulu, and to me it was all confirmation, all stuff that I've been talking about with the drug reps, and it just has so much confirmation. But I think some people probably think, oh, this is just the opioid industry. You know, when they've completely, I mean, it's completely unveiled that that was created by them. But when you have more awareness about some of the other, you know, conspiracy theories out there, then you realize that, you know, it's everything. You know, they, like I've said before, it was, they have the drugs legal, so they're selling them to people. And then there's people who take those drugs and by all sorts of illegal means, then they get their hands on them and start selling them on the streets. And you even have the CIA that was going around and giving them to people like the Manson family and stuff. They were going around and doing that to see, test on them. What happens when these people do this? What happens if they take that? We're constantly being tested on. And so many people trust these people. Like, trust their families, trust their kids with these people. And you're just a test subject. They don't care about you. You're a number to them. You have no family. You have no... There's nothing about you that they feel empathy for, compassion for. You're just a number, just like a lab rat. And, you know, and one thing in this show, not only do they show how the whole system works, you know, how they make these shell corporations and how this corporation is to back this corporation. So you trust this one because this one said, but they own this one and they own that one and this one and that one. You know, it's all the same people. And they are testing stuff on us, like I've said, with all of the chemicals that they put inside of us and all the toxins and the pesticides and the additives. You know, we are all sick. We're all dope sick. And, but when they create, I mean, the CIA were building drug dealers on the streets. It was shown to you with what happened with crack. And what they did, like, they get the drugs in people's homes legally, but they also get them into the streets. They create street gang wars. They create all of this stuff that we think is a part of our life, but it's all created. They create it. And that's what a part that people don't understand. They don't see that part. They think that this stuff just happens naturally. I start swallowing all this air. I swear, that's got to be it. I have one of those things, they call it, what do they call it? There's always a label. There's always a name. Even in that yesterday, where it showed that they create diagnoses oh, look, we have this new pill. We're going to get everybody to want this new one. What are we going to do? Well, if we create a new diagnosis and we call it this and we say this is the pill you need for that, then everybody will buy it. And guess what? It works like magic. That's what they do. People think, oh, I've got this and I got that. How many times have I said they don't even know what fibromyalgia is. And all these people run around with this diagnosis. I have this, reading up, trying to share like what's going on. And I keep saying, it's the fucking chemicals. It's the poisons. It's arsenic poison. Look that up. Look up what happens to your body in that. So, yeah, people just, they really hold dear to diagnoses, you know. It's like, oh, I've got my diagnoses. What is there? What is the treatment? What is the cure? And, you know, and everybody's cure is going to be a little different. That's why, you know, some people on these forums, you know, they can be, oh, this is what I do. This is what I do. And it's not going to work for somebody else because we're unique. There's something to our very core. It's not just, you know, like we all look unique or we all are different sizes and different colors. It's not just that. It's our whole structure of who we are on the inside is unique. It's different than everybody else's. And that's why you have to tune into your own uniqueness. You know, and it's hard, you know, you got to be vulnerable. You have to be like, hey, you know, I matter. And we're in a world where we're taught to not matter, you know. They want to keep us small. The whole thing is when you start really looking around and start realizing that the real goal is to just keep us small, keep us divided, keep us small, keep us sick. And you know, that keeps us controlled. So, it's up to us to take our health into our own hands and empower ourselves and love ourselves and be like, you know what? I don't care what everybody else is saying. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work on this. But, everybody's trying to like, oh, well, if I do this, and they're all sharing the same thing. It's like, it's not going to work for everybody. There's going to be a few people this will work for, that will work for. But all they want to do is create a pill. And like, there's all sorts of pills now. They're putting, oh, this is for fibromyalgia. This is for fibromyalgia. You bet your ass they'll come up with some new, oh, this is the cure for the fibromyalgia. It's only $1,000 a pill, but, we got it here for you. Just like what they're doing to these poor trans kids. I'm seeing so many people now. I saw a meme yesterday. So it was a kid, who wants to get a tattoo. And you can't get a tattoo even with your parents' written permission until you're 18. But you can be 5 years old and you can decide you need to go on hormone blockers. It's like, some of these parents are so busy being progressive. They're not thinking it through. Like, you're letting your 5-year-old make a decision for themselves that can be made well into their life. It's not something that needs to be, it's like, you just want to be so progressive. You got to sit around at the the wine gatherings and tell your friends how great you are because you allow your 5-year-old to identify themselves. How much are you even pushing that agenda where they're picking up on it? Because that's how it works. They're going to want to please you. If they think you really need a gay child to make yourself be more progressive, or you really need a trans kid so that you feel good about yourself, then you're putting that energy out there and your kid's picking up on it. And then you're letting them make a decision that's going to affect the rest of their lives. Like, even if you told a 5-year-old, okay, when we start this, you will never be able to have children. You get that? You never be able to have kids. You're never going to get to have your own child. They would not understand what you're saying. Try and explain to them what happens when somebody dies and they go to heaven. How many times that child comes back and say, are they coming back yet? Can I go to heaven with them? They don't get certain concepts. And it's just not in their understanding yet. So you're trying to give them an awareness to something that they can't comprehend. And then you're making decisions for them. I can't imagine being a little kid and, your parents are so excited. Oh, my trans child, they started the hormone blockers. They're so progressive. And then, that kid grows up and is like, hey, wait a minute. I want to get married and have a kid with somebody now. And I was like, well, you didn't want to then. It's like, but you can't make a decision over something you're going to put on your body that's going to be there forever, which could be removed. Like, you could still get a tattoo off. Even if they put your penis back on, it still is not going to give you kids. Like, I don't even know when they do that surgery and they turn oh my gosh. Sometimes, I swear to God, yesterday after I even did that video, where I was talking about the, how freaky it is when somebody's like, you're shadow banned. I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And so it just kind of was on my mind, it's kind of freaky. Like, are they going to come and get me? Are they going to come and take me away? I don't know. And so yesterday, this big giant white van drove super slow past my house. Like, they were trying to look and see. And I was like, what the fuck? And they kept driving slow. They never sped up. And then I sat here with my phone. I was going to videotape them. I was like, okay, if they go back around. I even started talking like they had one of those recorders or something and they could hear me. Because I paused the thing. And I went over with my phone to start trying to film if they went back around. And I didn't see them go back around. And I don't even know if it was for me, but it was in my head, And them coming and because like I said before, when people were saying that they were going to come on our property and start dragging us out and doing this to us, I went and I ordered a bunch of those signs, no trespassing, and I went and put them because my whole property is fenced. So I've got myself like fenced in, and I've put those signs, keep out, no trespassing, private property. And I have one out there about a dog is on patrol. And so, and when the Secret Service did come, they didn't cross over. They didn't just come in like, because there's something about words and stuff. You have to welcome, you have to allow them. It's the whole thing too. I saw somebody yesterday, and what was it? Oh, it was in my comments. Somebody said, like, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that, we can pull through, but we still have to pay our taxes. No, that is part of their system. And it is something I just saw. I don't know if it was in the Kissinger files or what, but they made it clear that the only way they can get money out of us, taxes or anything, is if we give it by free will. They put pressure on us, they make us believe this stuff, but they can't force it. And there's a lot of stuff they can't force, and they keep trying to change the words and change the dialogue so that we are getting more trapped and losing our rights. But as long as we stay firm and know, I'm a living, breathing being. I'm a child of God. I'm a child, of the natural God, not their created God, but the natural God, the creator. And you don't have dominion over me. You can't tell me shit. I'm here as a free living soul. And when we all start realizing that, and we see like they can only tell us to do something because we believe that they can. So we do what they say. So I haven't paid my taxes yet. And you know what? I was thinking about, because every time I've always gotten my taxes. But like I said, in 2020, when I started understanding what was going on with the economics and the financial system, and when I started understanding more how it works, and our birth certificates, when I was looking into all of that stuff, that's when I started, just stopped paying them. I stopped paying my credit cards. For a while, I had stopped paying the house, but that was all, there was a Dovic kind of thing, an allowance that they gave everybody, like, oh, it's so severe. You don't have to pay your bills right now. That's weird. There's just these sky, mountain scenery going across my phone, and it was showing it with the inverted sky, showing it now like that. That is weird. I swear, in art class, this is where it starts fucking with your head, because I know it used to be darker at the horizon and go light going up. It's so weird. See how they change things. They change history. They change the dialogue. They change it into what they want it to be. It's very creepy how they do this stuff. All they got to do is change some pictures, change what we think, change our vision, change how we see things. People just don't realize how much that they are programmed, how much they live their lives just by being programmed. It's just like you're born and they click, da, 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 and program you in, and then you go about your life. Oh, I'm just this, I'm doing this, but you're all programmed. And this is the awakening, is pulling free from the programming and knowing your own individual, that you're an individual being, and that's why they're so scrambling with this. You're no longer a human being. Well, guess what? I never was. That was always your words. I've always been a living, eternal being, and that's why I'm here. I'm a soul. I'm a soul from the creator. So, you take your words and shove them up your ass. So I had stopped paying my bills, and then I did start paying the house again because that little thing ended. And the sad thing is when that thing ended, now I see what they were doing to people, because so when it ended for me, I still had the same income. So my paperwork just went right back in, and I just went right back onto my regular payments. Nothing changed in my finances. So for people who did have something change, then all of a sudden they do the paperwork, say, you couldn't pay your bills during that time because you lost your job, which so many people did. And then so they said, okay, well, you don't have to pay your house. Don't worry about it. Just, we've got a pandemic on our hands. Just focus on your health. We're here for you. We're always here for you. Yeah. And then, so after that, then the people, the little session ends, after you've accumulated a year of payments, then they come in and they say, okay, well, now you have to fill out the paperwork again. It's part of the process. Don't worry about it. You fill out all your paperwork again, and then they say, hey, wait a minute, your income changed. You can't have this loan anymore. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Should we take your house? Well, it looks like we're going to have to. You can't afford it. And, you know, some of the was like all of a sudden you had to pay 20,000 in cash because you have to pay what had accumulated. So it was just, it was another way to take things away from people, hardworking people who, when they created the crisis, then, you know, it's like, hey, here's our opportunity. We're coming for you. That's all they're ever doing is coming for us, you know, coming for what we have and our relationships, everything is just to keep us defeated all the time. And people don't realize, you know, that there's somebody who's doing all of this stuff to you to keep you so down and defeated and lonely and sad and disconnected, and all of this stuff is all a creation. So, but we allow it, you know, we all allow it. So when I quit paying mine, and I get calls all the time from the bank, and I used to, like back in the day when I would be having, especially after my brain injury, because I was making a lot of money. I was a workaholic. I worked all the time. There was sometimes I was making $60 an hour. I mean, who isn't going to go work a lot when you're making $60 an hour? But, you know, when you're just feeding the beast, then I'm just shopping, you know. You know, you gotta, what is that called? What people would do, like, you got to let off a little steam. You worked hard all week. Let off a little steam. And then you end up, you know, you work. And then the rest of the time you're letting off a little steam. So, you know, your whole life starts just circling. It's like your orbit is just your job. It's just what you're trying to do to survive. And that just becomes your whole life. You're just spinning out of control around this one thing, you know. And, but everybody thinks, well, that's just the way life is. But back then, I used to stress the fuck out. Like if the bank called and I hadn't paid something, oh my gosh, I would stress the fuck out. You sit there trying to talk to them. Well, I will do it. You know, I'm trying to beg for mercy, and they just belittle you, make you feel small, make you feel like a big loser and stuff. Now, now I get these messages all the time, and they send automated messages, of course. You know, and I think there's so many people losing their jobs and they're not letting us know. They're keeping that kind of on the down low. And there's just, I really, like here, so like, because I'm on disability, right? And the Social Security offices now are closing. And you have to have an appointment. It takes forever to even get a call. Some of the offices in different cities are just closing. And I had talked to this one woman, and she was going to call me the next day, and then she didn't, so I called her back, and she still hasn't called back. And she was the one who was saying she was going to call me back. She was trying to, she thought when she was talking to me, she's like, I don't think you need a payee, because before just having a brain injury, they told me, well, you can't do your own finances. That's just legally, we have to have a payee. And so, you know, there's a lot of stuff, you know, that get forced on you when you get an injury. They start taking rights away from you, like I've said, you know. I mean, there's talk of putting me in a nursing home. My lawyer was pushing for that. And I kept saying, no. And, you know, some of my kids were pretty young when this happened. They were still teenagers. And so, you know, there wasn't so much a push. You know, but the husband I had at the time, oh, he was all for it. He just wanted that, the money that I was going to get from the case. And, you know, and all that stuff is just blown up. Your lawyer being, I don't know if she's arrested, but, you know, losing her license for embezzlement and stuff. So anyways, whatever. I just can't stress out about this stuff. You know, I know that I will be taken care of. I know that the universe will take care of me. I'm not going to stress out about, you know, this money anymore. And I was stressed, you know, that she had put so much of her own money into it. Well, now I know it was somebody else's money, and I wanted to be able to pay her back. But, you know, now it's like, okay, I've released that. cut that little tie. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So I just release it. It's like, whatever. And, but now when they call me, I just don't give a shit. I just click off. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to talk to you. I don't give a shit. I know that you're just a system desperate to stay alive. And, you know, at the same time you're trying to stay alive, you're a parasite to me and feeding off of me. And I don't have the energy to spare for you anymore. So, you know, it's just cutting the ties with the debting situation, the whole debt system. that they create. But see, then it's like you can't, you don't pay your taxes. How can you get a loan? And you got to have a credit score. Like all of the stuff that they create to cage us in. And we just keep allowing it. But it's only because the people have only allowed things because they just don't understand their own power. They don't understand who they are. They don't understand what they are. And they've just been so beat down for so long. I mean, even when, they put it out there that we have a creator, but then they turned that into something evil, something that, was out to get us instead of the truth. I mean, go outside and look at the trees and look at the flowers and look at the birds. Watch a mama deer with her baby and stuff, and tell me that the creator has got evil on his mind. It's just like we don't have the same creator. I know that the creator of all things, that we are those things. We are the particles of that creation. So yeah, but then you see some of these people sit there saying like, I'm spreading the devil's work. It's like, I think that they just haven't seen the truth. You have to have the relationship is in your heart. So anyways, I've released that stuff about the bills and everything, and I don't let it bother me like it used to bother me. And I've seen other people now saying that, they've stopped paying their bills, and that's what we all have to do. We crash them when we just stop paying them. And, right now they have, still some hold over us. They come in and take people's houses. You can fight that too. Just don't leave. Squatters have more rights. Fucking be a squatter in your own damn house. I've heard of people squatting in their own family's house for 3 or 4 years. So don't feel the pressure. When they started telling me that they were taking my house, they started sending, because when I got the brain injury and I started losing everything, and they said they were taking my house. Because I didn't make enough to pay it. It's the same thing as what I know that they did to these people with the Dovin. And that's when I became an activist. I was going down to Olympia. I was going to the Capitol. I was with a big group of people out there trying to be active. It was during the Wall Street time, and when there was a lot of protests all over the place. And we were protesting against the banking system because they were destroying the world. And they're all the same though. Big pharma, the bank, the education, the government, it's all the same people at the top. It's just the branches that they have infiltrated into our life. So when I was going and, going and talking to senators or whatever they were, Congress people, they didn't give a shit. They did not care one bit about what was going on in people's lives. And but when I lost that place, they were sending me threatening letters, you better get out. And I started being like, I was in a panic. I didn't know what the fuck to even do. So I went and started trying to find a rental place to move into. And then as soon as I moved into it, and one of the times, this was Chase Bank who was doing it to me, fucking JP Morgan. So when I was when they were putting all this pressure on me that they were taking my house and that I had to have a realtor, and I had a realtor and stuff, and if I could find somebody, I could do a short sale, and they would sell the house to somebody else, and then I wouldn't have it be a foreclosure. So I got the realtor, and they were bringing people, and people kept putting in offers, but the bank wouldn't even acknowledge them. The bank, that's part of their system. You can do this, but we're going to it's all on paper. It's just pretend, waste your time and energy because we're not going to do a damn thing to help you. So I was getting so frustrated. One of the times I was talking to this lady, and that's another thing too, every fucking time you call, it'd be like, oh, they don't work here anymore. They moved to another department. Like they're constantly giving you a different person. And you try to explain things and it just gets worse and worse. I swear to God, it's just a tier thing. Oh, you get through this one, we'll give them somebody who's going to make it harder. Give us somebody who's going to make it harder until you're just defeated. So, and when they had said, you better move out. So I went and found a place, and then you know, when you're moving into a rental, you get a window of time. You can't say, oh, hey, 6 months from now, will you keep this open for me? No, you got to fucking take it. So I moved in to the place. And it was when I was talking to that one lady at one of the times, I was still living at my house. I was so frustrated. And I said, I ought to just fucking burn it down. Ooh, God damn. And they freaked out. And I know it's because there was and it was even on my mind because there was so many people in Spokane and by Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls that were doing it. There was $1 million houses. I mean, not $1 million, like $10 million mansions that were suddenly burning down on the river. And so, I mean, it was clear that there was people burning their houses down because of what was going on. And there was so many. And so when I told Chase, I had to just fucking burn it down. Oh my God, they freaked the fuck out. Then it was like I was under investigation or something. And so then they started calling me and sending me these letters and stuff. And I moved out and I went into the rental. And when I was, then I started getting letters that I had abandoned my house. I was like, what the hell? You tell me to get out of my house. Now you're telling me to I abandoned my house. And then they said, oh no, we never told you to get out. I was, oh my God, it was enough to drive you insane. I mean, this system will put people on drugs because it just fucks with your head all the time. Still having so much, I know it's the fucking allergies or the poisons. It's been nonstop since the other day when they did their freaky snowstorm thing. And then the next day, another one. And now it's just been raining and raining ever since. And I know that those fluids, however they create these storms are, you know, it's got chemicals in it. And, you know, that's why we have allergies. So, I feel like I have to cough again. So, anyways, that whole thing that I was talking about with, you know, the houses and them taking things away from people and keeping them trapped and the money and how we really do surrender ourselves. And I've been putting all of these different videos of Dope Sick, a lot of stuff that they've said. I've done little videos on TikTok. And I literally had a guy come on. He left a whole bunch of comments. And he was saying he's on Oxy. And he said, I'm on 40 milligrams. I can't get through the night. It's just like what the show is saying. And they move me up, then they move me back down. Now they tell me they won't give me enough. And my body's in so much pain. I just want the pain to stop. I want to be able to walk and stuff like that. It's heartbreaking. And people don't understand like about how the pain receptors and stuff work. And when you take, and see, don't fucking tell me that the scientists who are developing this stuff don't understand what somebody who goes to school to be a nurse does understand. Bullshit. These people know what the fuck they're doing. There's no fucking way that they don't know. When they're developing these drugs, they are targeting these areas in your brain and stuff. And so in your brain, there's these receptors, and the receptors, everything in your system, like I've said, it's like a domino effect. It's like energy goes in, something creates the energy, which causes this to happen, which causes this to happen. It's like inside your body is, you know, one of those, when it's been in so many movies, a whole bunch of them are coming in my head, so I can't see them that fast, but I can see the little thing they do, these little inventor scientist guys, these home scientist inventors, and they'll make that machine that it drops the orange, and when the orange falls, it rolls over here, and then that does that, and then it goes over here, and then that lights this, and then this goes over here. That is how it works in your body. And that's what about energy and food and mitochondria and all of this stuff. It's a system inside of you that works like that. So this has to happen, which makes this happen, which makes this happen, that makes this happen, then this happens, this happens. And so there's all of these things happening, and they can go in and interfere with any of these steps. And that's what they do. And so in those steps, like there's a reason why you have these receptors for pain and stuff. So it's like, you know, if you think of yourself being like a caveman, if you go back to where they had less understanding than we have now, and they went up and they saw a fire and they thought, oh, it's so beautiful. You know, they want to put their hand in it. They have pain receptors that tell them, no, pull out, you will die, your hand's on fire. You know, that is a natural thing inside of you to know to pull back, that you're being burned. So you have to have these different receptors. Well, they're going in and interfering with your receptors. So they are going in and stimulating them and stimulating them. And then, so the medicine goes in and they, like you can look it up. Like I'm not going to explain it as good as if you go in and do some research about how pain receptors work and the blood-brain barrier, and even with alcohol, why somebody has to have more and more alcohol when they drink a lot, and you know, a couple drinks, that they're all good and fine and dandy. See, I'm still one of those people. I can have a couple drinks, and I rarely drink. And but you know, if I'm at a party, I'm not, you know, I may have a margarita, I may have a glass of wine, just depends. I'm going to go with how I feel at the time. But you know, I don't have a problem. I don't have to worry about that. And you know, I can have a couple of drinks and I will be fine. I just basically choose to not do that. But I'm not going to hold myself back if I want to. Like, I'm not going to put that limitation on myself, if you get what I'm saying. And so they have these receptor things, like when you, so if you are drinking and then, or taking drugs or any of this stuff, so it will go up and it will go and, you know, hold on to those receptors. So then it's like, let me see if I can explain this right. So I used to be able to explain this. Okay, so you have your receptors, and then you start drinking, and whatever with those, the alcohol ones, so then it will create new receptors because you're drinking, and so it needs new ones to give like more, it's just the way your body works. So if you drink or do drugs, then whatever that attaches onto, then it needs to grow more of them. So you drink more, and then you grow more, and then you drink more, and it grows more and more and more. So you have all these receptors that start being like, I need more. Where's more alcohol? Where's more drugs? I need more. And so it's these receptors in you that have grown and gotten out of control. And that's why, like, when you're trying to stop an addiction, you know, it's like super, super painful. It's a lot to go through because you have all of these receptors that are in you starving, like, I need more, you know, and it's like, oh, it is, I mean, you can see what it does to people. I mean, people can't handle it, and they will go and drink, or they'll go do drugs or something just to make the pain stop. But it creates more receptors, and that's why you need more of the product, whatever it is. It's like a never-ending cycle. When I was a nurse, I saw people come in, especially when I worked on the neuro floor. You know, it was a lot of brain stuff, but most of the neuro stuff is back surgeries. So many people need back surgeries. Or the thing is when you get a back surgery, so they go in and they get one, and then a lot of times they like fuse it, so that part of your back can't move, but then that puts extra tension on the parts below and above it. So those parts, I thought my dress came open. That would be embarrassing. That those places become weak, and then those get messed up, and so then they have to go in and do another surgery and another surgery and another surgery to pretty soon, you know, you can't even move. I know people who have done this, and the people would come in and they would be, oh my God, I saw people taking 160 milligrams of oxy. At the time, it was like, what? How are they even functioning? Like, oh my God, how are they even speaking? You know, you would think they would just be conked out and just, and this was another thing too, is because they would come in all the time to get surgery, and then you couldn't, no matter what we would do, and all of us as nurses have had these arguments with patients. I definitely know. I mean, this was something that we did all the time, is that you would be, nothing would touch their pain. You could give them more and more and more pain medicine, and nothing would help. You'd be calling the doctor, and nothing, because there was way too many pain receptors. And as much pain medicine as you could give them after a surgery, it wouldn't fill them all. So they're still feeling pain because they have all of these receptors. They're starving. So when they would, the patients would be so desperate. I mean, they would be yelling at you. They'd be crying. They'd be screaming. And I mean, you know, you'd have to go in and monitor their breathing. You'd be giving them more medicine. And I swear to God, you could have a patient that would take 2 breaths in a minute, and you'd be like calling the doctor, like, you know, their breathing is getting so much worse. And I mean, it was such a fine line messing with this stuff when you have all of these addicts coming in to get surgery, and they are creating addicts, especially in the back surgeries and neck surgeries and stuff. They're creating these addicts, and then they come in to get their surgeries, and there's nothing you can do. And the people are just like, I don't care if I stop breathing. I don't want to have pain. And I mean, it's crazy. And I know that anybody who has worked in any of the floors that people are addicted to pain medicine and have surgery, they know. And how many little old ladies I saw that were addicted to pain meds, because that was their solution here. You know, the little old lady comes in and has pain. They're just giving them oxycodone, Percocet. I gave so many little old ladies oxycodone all day long. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is this doing to their liver? And they're just all out of it all the time. I mean, they're all drugged out. So, and it's the creation is what they're doing. They do it on purpose. They are aging people on purpose. They're getting them to a certain place. And I know it has something to do too, as I'm watching what they're doing and twisting history and stuff. I know it has something to do with how they change history, because they want this division. They don't want young people to listen to old people, because, you know, I mean, the elders are the ones that are the storytellers. They tell about what has gone on. They give you lessons. They help you understand your world. But when they create this division, you know, the younger generation is completely reliant on the indoctrination centers to tell them about the world that we used to live in. I mean, it's mental when I have young people tell me about the time that I lived. It's like, there's only one of us that was there. I think I have a little bit more insight into this, but there's so much arrogance and ego going on that, you know, it's just all twisted, and we have to untwist it. And, you know, another thing too, I was thinking about, I'll stop after this, but yesterday I was thinking about, you know, the micro macro thing, and I was watching that Dope Sick, and it was making me think about the brain. And I thought, oh, this is something like how I could explain, because if you think about the micro macro concept and you think about your brain, if you even look at your brain of how it looks, and you imagine that would be like our earth plane would look like this, how a brain looks, and it's got all these pathways. Oh, I remember what was making me think about it, because I was thinking about when I got the brain injury, and what it does is it interferes with pathways. So inside your brain, you have like this, if you think about it like the earth plane, then you have, like we have trees and plants and stuff growing in the brain. It has like, I don't know how to explain it, but it is, I've seen some brains. It is, not textured, but it has a form. They all have this same form, and they have lines in them, and they have these parts that stick up. So they have like an ecology or something. I don't know what to call it. I'm sure that wouldn't be the right word. But, you know, it has a structure that is unique to itself. And so if you think about that as the earth, the place that we live. So if we are in a place and it is like that, it has, it has shape, or it has I can't think of the words, sorry. But then it has pathways, it has ways to get around. And in there it has, like what I was saying, if you have, in that system where this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens, that is how it goes inside of your brain. Like it goes through these pathways, and it goes really super fast, and it goes through these pathways to tell you all the time. Just like if you go up to touch something and it's hot, immediately your sensors will shoot that message up into your brain, into those sensors, and that sensor will tell you release, pull back. Like all of that is happening in here all the time, and you're not thinking about it. You don't have to tell it, any of the stuff. It just automatically has things that it's doing. And so in your brain, you have the pathways that are going all over. Like mine got interfered in a certain lobe, in the lobe where it holds memory and processing. So, that it stagnated my processing. Like the pathways get interrupted. So when I'm trying to process, like what I said, when there's a group of people talking, like yesterday, even when I was getting all those comments, I couldn't process, like, what are they saying? What are they talking about? Like, it was way too much stuff at once. So it is, the pathways got interfered with. And so then, in my memory, like a lot of those pathways got, I don't know, wiped out or something. I'm not sure. Did they just create, obstacles on pathways? I don't know. I mean, they were herniating my brain. My brain was squashed and there was no fluid, and it was coming out the back of my neck. That usually kills people. So, I'm not sure what all that they did, but I was just thinking about, so if you think about a brain and you think about all of these pathways inside of the brain and how it works when you think of something, and how you will have like a vision when you think of something. And if you think about that, is what like some of the stuff is so much easier in my head than to try and explain it. But that is what life is about. Like what life is. Like you project something inside your brain and you give it life. You envision it. You see it. You can have an experience through this thing you created, this thought in your head. And that is, it's like the same thing that you are here in this reality, where you are the creation of that thought. Is like the brain. If you think of the brain being like the solar system, and each of us is like the little synapse of thought, that little creation of a being, the creation of a life, of a world, of whatever it is that you think and dream of, what you create in there. That is like, if you think of the brain being like this whole solar system and all of those pathways, you think of like what I was talking about with how the stars and how they're all energy and how they're all different realities, like a magnetic. And when you see the pictures of them up close, and you could see like the light and the formation and how it moves. And how I said, it looks like people dancing up there or something. And you realize like about the plasma and how it moves, and about vibration, about color, and about energy, and about the magnetism. I have been so out of it for days. I swear to God, I don't know if they're putting some kind of heavy drugs in this stuff or what, but even when I'm waking up, like Stella was down, it was so funny this morning. Some of these conversations I have with her in the morning just crack me up. I can't help but start laughing and get up. And she'll like, oh, I'll be like, oh, and she'll be like, oh, I'll be like, oh, and we'll go back and forth like that. And you can tell by her sounds how frustrated she's getting. Like, come on, on. It's just so funny. God, she cracks me up. But so I get up, and then I don't feel like my soul is in my body all the way. It's like I'm not here fully. I'm still trying to like, this avatar is stumbling around because I'm not all the way in it. I'm still out there somewhere. And so I start my day in this like stupor of a state where I don't feel I'm completely inside myself. And so I still am feeling like that. I still feel super out of it. And I've even drank 2 cups of tea, and I'm not even feeling more awake or anything. I just feel super out of it. So anyways, I could be talking more choppy than normal. But if you think, like I have talked about before, that we are like the synapse of the solar system. And so when you see those, like the magnetic force that holds the resonance of this reality together, that creates something that we think of as a star. But then in everything in nature is moving. Like I said with the record, like all the lines on the record, or a tornado and all of the lines, however you want to see it, how close all of these realities, and how you can shift. Like if you think about the portal being inside of the realities, but there's tons and tons of portals. There's portals all around us. Because like I said before, is like my eyes keep getting worse. It keeps being like, sometimes everything will turn into those little color squares, and I start seeing the color squares that make us up. Sometimes I start seeing like I said, it looks like some sort of like honeycomb system. And I've seen this in movies. I just saw it in another movie the other day. Oh, I think it was The Knowing. They did that. When the ship came to take these kids to the New World because the big event was coming, and they had the big ship came in, the light beings were all there. First they were standing there like people, but then they switched into their light bodies, and then they had like these things on their back that kind of moved to kind of insinuate that they were angelic. And so they got into their ships, but the thing that came down to pick them up was this spinning like honeycomb thing. And I also saw it in that other movie that was about, it was this guy in space who went out, and then he got stuck in some sort of time space thing, and he was trying to get home, and he went into this place, and it was just like what I've seen too. It was like all these different levels, like kind of like a high-rise building. See, I bet you that is why they come up with this stuff, because a high-rise building would literally be like all of those different realities. So all of these different times in space, in every floor, in every room, all these different realities, and then they're stacked like that. And then if you went into the hall, you could leave and go into different realities, right? So it's kind of that same concept. And I've seen them show that in the movies so many times about this, these holes. And I think those are all of the ways that we can pass through into different realities, or these holes that is just, because everything is energy. It is more, but when you have the ones that are gathered up in a group like that, to create a star or something, to create a reality like the earth plane that we are in, from far out. Like when I saw it, it looked like a roller coaster, but I was seeing it from a further out perspective. I was being shown like the cycles of humanity. I wasn't being shown like this particular time. I was being shown something else. And I don't know, I was thinking about this the other day. Was I sitting there saying, show me something? Because that usually is when something will happen, when you ask them, show me this or show me that. And then they will show you. And I was thinking, I bet you it was. I asked to show me something because it was such an intense experience. But I started really seeing how the solar system is like a body system. It's like the human body reflects how the solar system works, and how if you were inside your body, like if you think about the white blood cells, the red blood cells, the all of the different synapses that occur inside our body that are all energy, are all individual. Like a white blood cell and a red blood cell has a purpose. They have a job. They know their job. They don't question their job. They go do their job. And they give us drugs to interfere, to confuse the system, but the system has a set direction to go. And so when you are, what I've been talking about so much is like we, us feeling like the avatar that we are is like the synapses of the creation of this solar system. So we all are like the cells of this body. We know what to do. We've been interfered with, but we know like our purpose when we get in touch with ourselves. We understand what we're supposed to be doing. They aren't interfering anymore. Like I've said before, it's kind of like they're a disease to the system. And, but we got to heal. But they have taught people so much, you don't need to heal. You need to fix yourself. You just take this pill. This pill does it all. You just skip the part of healing. When now we've seen, like, taking a pill is not going to heal anything. You're going to still have the same problem, and they can jack up the price of your pill. They can take that pill away. They can start a new pill. Like, they'll keep messing with you. You have to be the one who says, hey, I want to heal this. I don't want a bandage on it. And I especially don't want to buy a bandage from you. I want to figure out what is causing my problems. And, when it gets down to back pain, anybody who's had back pain and neck pain, like I have scoliosis. So I could completely relate with what these people were going through. And, I even was to the point where I wanted to get surgery on my neck. My neck is, like it's supposed to be each of the little discs are supposed to be lined up, and mine in my neck, because my twist in my back goes out like that, goes far out like that. And I think it kind of even twists kind of like that, but it kind of twists back up. And then right in this part, just in this part, it all twists back. So all of these things are really jacked up. They're all like twisted and turned. And one time they even scared me and told me that, it's very dangerous what you have going on in your neck, because one is protruding the wrong way. Like you turn your head too quick and you're done. And it's like, well, if that happens, that's my time to go. That's my exit cue. Like, bye guys, it's been nice. So, I'm not going to worry about that stuff now. It used to scare me a lot more. I was on 18 pills at one time. So I used to trust these people, and they just got me sicker and sicker and sicker. Same people who gave me a brain injury, I'm trusting them with taking medicine. Now I just see through I see through it so much. But anyways, everything, like I feel like everything in our brain represents what this whole solar system is. It's the pathways, the electrical charges, that's all up here around us. There's all of these pathways. There's electrical charges that are happening. You create a thought. You just created a reality inside of there. That just became real. That became something that you are thinking about, you're giving life to. And, I don't know if that's making sense. Hopefully it is, but it's always like when you can see it so clearly, they show you things in your head and then you think, okay, I can, because it's so easy to understand when they show you. But like I've said, you can ask them, show me this, show me that, help me to understand. I'm always talking to them. Like, something comes up, I'm always like, okay, help me understand. Or sometimes something that they'll show me and I will be like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I need clarity. Give me some clarity, clarify. And you will get clarity. They will, everybody's different levels in their connection and understanding, and most people have blocked it off. And, I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to be a crazy person. They're going to put me on medication. If I say my TV's talking to me, if I say the music is talking to me, the numbers are talking to me, there's someone talking in my head that, somebody's going to say I'm crazy. So that, it's a lot of stuff to reprogram yourself and get comfortable with being called crazy. But remember, it's only temporary, because pretty soon everybody will be awake. Like, I mean, honestly, by the point where I started speaking out about this, there was already enough people that were giving me confirmation to the things I was thinking that I felt comfortable to come out and say something, because it's like, I know this is true. I know this is right. So I'm going to go out and start talking about it. And there's still people who will come in and attack over things, but now it's to the point where it's just like, I just know they haven't seen. They haven't woke up yet. They're still holding on to this world that was created for them. They're scared to let go of it. They can't imagine that anybody could lie to them. That's all ego and stuff. So, I see things differently, and I do feel comfortable to speak out. But, I wasn't like David Icke. He was out there speaking like he was the lone wolf. Like, he was out there speaking. There's people who can see, there's people on TikTok all the time, telling me, keep speaking out, because so many people are scared to speak out because of this world that they created that's so much about bullying. You can't listen to somebody else. You can't listen to what somebody else says. They're just crazy, and they give you very set parameters of what isn't crazy. And what isn't crazy is just following their program. But we don't want to follow their program anymore. Their program is leading us off a cliff. And then it's making us sick the whole way that we walk to the cliff. So we have to recognize that stuff, and we have to want more for ourselves. And we have to know that we can heal ourselves and work on ourselves. And like I said, with the back stuff, I know that is super hard. It's very painful when your whole center that creates motion has an interference. And, doctors don't know what to do. So they just, we'll give you pain medicine. And we got people out pushing it like drug dealers on the doctors and on the people and getting them addicted and creating crime, when it started happening, so many more kids started going into foster care, which, the system loves that. They just sell them to the highest bidder. They don't give a shit. They want it. They want this stuff to happen. They want people to give their kids up. And so many people fill in the jails. Well, the jails are privately owned by rich people. So, hell yeah, they want that. They make money. They charge us money to keep these people housed in prisons. Where are the facilities to help people with their addiction? And besides that, there is some parts, like the 12-step program, but there's also... you need to have an individual relationship with your maker. You have to, like when you say I'm powerless against this, you have to mean it. You have to really be like, I'm really powerless. I really need your help on this one. And, you will get the help you need, but you have to go and realize that you have something outside of you that is trying to help you. Your higher self is there all the time, waiting for you to acknowledge them, waiting for you to remember who you are. This time, every life cycle is different. I'm talking about this one that's going on right now because this one's unique. We're changing ages, and it's super significant in the human process. So, we're going to be going through different experiences right now, and all the experiences are to get us to wake up, empower ourselves, take control of our own lives, take control of our own health, and move us in a direction so that we can recreate a world that is not based on these sick systems that were created to hold us captive and control us and, feed off of our energy. Now we're moving into a time where you have to be healed. You have to work on you. You have to be loving and accepting of others. And there isn't going to be this hierarchy that they created of I'm better than you and I'm I know more than you and stuff like that. Like this is where I said where people like don't even realize how transparent they are. I had a guy yesterday in one of the comments, and I think it was one of the ones where I was showing the storm outside, and he comes on and tells me, like I'm wacky. And so then I'm like I say, well, that is your reality. My reality is different. And, I will, live in my reality. Good luck to you. And so then they'll come in and say, you know, that I'm some other thing. I can't remember word for word. But basically, he started out putting me down. And then when I turn around and I say, you know, oh, because he acted like he knew everything. He knew everything. There was nothing that could get by on him. And there is no weather manipulation. There is nothing like that going on. And I'm just out there spreading a bunch of nonsense. And I'm just like, well, it sounds like a lot of ego going on there. And, you know, you think you have all the answers. Like, where is it you feel like you have all the answers? Like, how do you not see someone else could be doing research into something and they would have answers about that? You think you know it all? Like, dude. And then he said I was being mean and putting him down. It's like, oh, how do you not see what you are coming in and telling me that I don't know something because you don't know it? It's like, what the hell? That's why I said some of this stuff is becoming more and more transparent, and people don't even realize, like, they're exposing themselves. Like, it's bizarre. But there's so many more people waking up, and there's a huge shift happening, and people are wanting to understand and know the truth, and people are seeing through the bullshit. I mean, there's so many people. I mean, it's so funny that, like, the 5 people who come in and say, you know, that I sound crazy, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that are saying I'm seeing the same thing. So they are the minority, and they are the biggest bullies, but they are the minority. Most people are just like, you know, what's going on? What's happening in the world? And why am I having all this stuff happen? Why am I having all of these things come up? Why am I having to make all of these different choices? Because everything is pushing us in a new direction. You know, we're opening up new pathways, and it's taking us to a whole new level. And the people who are holding themselves back, like I've said, you know, it's all in their ego, on their arrogance. Nah, nobody can get one passed on me. I'm very well read. I understand everything. Well, you know, I don't know what you read. I don't know what you understand. I don't know, you know, how indoctrinated you are, but I'm telling you that there is shit going on that you're not seeing. So I just keep telling people, like, look outside the box. And one lady was like, what are you talking about? What box? And I was like, the one you created for yourself. The one that holds all your limitations of being able to see anything outside that box. So anyways, just, you know, don't feel like you're the crazy one anymore. It's time for us to realize we're not crazy. This world is crazy. It's making people crazy. But, you know, the more you get in touch with what is out there, the less crazy you feel, and the more crazy people think you are. But you know in your heart, like, no, I'm supposed to be connected like this. I'm supposed to feel this. Like, you start feeling it in every breath you take. And that's why I said, tune into yourself and listen to yourself. Listen to your own body and how it's directing you, because you're here for a purpose. You're here to learn and expand. And this is our time. This is our time to shine. So I will talk to you later. Bye.